Welcome back to another lecture. You just learned how to automate your work in Photoshop through actions, and in this lesson we'll take it even further. Here's how you can resize lots of images fast. In my case, I have 10 images that are way too big for my needs. I'm using a program called ACDC, and this shows me their image size in the bottom left. Most of these are huge, but I want them limited to a maximum of 2000 pixels, weight or height-wise. As you can see, some of them are shot in portrait mode, while the others are wide, meaning they're in landscape mode. Whatever value is bigger needs to be toned down. So here's what we'll do. With Photoshop opened, but without any active projects, I'll go to File, Scripts. From this list, I'll choose Image Processor. This is a fairly old piece of technology, but it still does a pretty good job. Here's what's important. First, we'll select our folder that contains our files. Just browse for it and select it. In case you have some additional folders inside it, you may want to check this option as well. Include all subfolders. Step 2 is essential. I always suggest you save your work in another place on your drive. If you leave it at its default setting, you'll overwrite your source images, which is not ideal. At number 3, we can choose our file quality and type, which is limited to JPEG, hence why I said this is pretty outdated stuff. Because of that, we can't export them as PNGs, but don't worry, I'll teach you an alternative in just a moment. The quality goes from 0 to 12. Most likely you'll want to stay within the 9 and 12 range to get decent results. On this right column is where the resize magic happens. Check this feature and you'll be asked to enter some dimensions. Note, this reflects the maximum width and height values. It does not mess up your aspect ratio. So if I put in 2000 by 2000, we won't get square images. Instead, those set their maximum values. Finally, because we just learnt about actions, we can enable one from point number 4. In my case, I just want to resize them, so I'll hit Run. Photoshop is going to open each image and it will perform that resize. The faster your processor, the sooner the program will finish this task. Okay, we're done. Let's check out our new image sizes. Focus on the bottom left as I move from image to image. This is a pretty good result, even though it's limited to JPEGs. That's how you can resize images fast through the built-in image processor. Here's an alternative that exports PNGs. This is called Layer Saver, and I give huge props to its author. We've used this script for over a year at our Android design studio, and it's something I use in my professional web design projects as well. Here's what you need to do. You have this file attached to this lecture, so please download it. I would have loved to link to the author's website directly, but its origins are foggy for me. Now copy this file and place it inside your Photoshop folder, more specifically in Presets/Scripts. On a Windows machine, this means C, Program Files, Adobe Photoshop CC 2017, Presets, Scripts. Paste it in here, and now you'll need to restart it. If you try it immediately, it just won't show up. Once you're back in Photoshop, we'll have to change our interface to another color scheme so we can better understand what's going on. That's because this script is not something that's officially supported by Photoshop or that's been created by Adobe. There are many individuals out there that create fantastic scripts, but more often than not, they create them for free and share them with the community. As Adobe constantly launches updates to the program, most contributors don't update their scripts. I imagine this is what happened here as well. Hence, the darkest interface won't work well with this script, so I'll change my color scheme to the lightest one. Okay, here we are. For this to work, we'll have to load up all these images inside a canvas. Give me a moment while I do this. For my app or web design PSDs, this is not a problem because everything is already inside my projects. Here, in case you want to resize hundreds in Photoshop, this may be a downside. But just in case you want to skip pressing Enter several times, there's a setting for that in your preferences. Open up with Ctrl-K, and in the General tab you'll find an option called Skip Transform when placing. This means it won't show you those transform handles every time you add a new image to your canvas. That's how you can speed up the process. Okay, once these are loaded, I'll go to File, Scripts, Layer Saver. Immediately, I want to focus on Save As, where we get PNG among other options like JPEG and PSD, so this is a major advantage. For the output details, please choose any folder. In this case, since these images have various sizes, I'll also enable Trim Layer, so we won't get any excess transparent space. Now I'll enable Custom Fit Image, and this will ask me for my dimensions. I'll write 2000 in both boxes as before. There are a few other options here, but let me hit Process. Give it a moment to run. The bigger the photos, the more resources this process is going to require. OK, fast forward and here we are. Let's check out their size. First, we can see their PNGs, which is great, but also their size is limited at 2000 pixels. Brilliant script, but there's another thing I really appreciate about it. Let's go back to Photoshop and I'll add a black and white adjustment layer at the top of my layers. This is a pretty common situation where we need to simultaneously merge and export layers. This script is fantastic because it allows us to save all layers along with the top layer. This means that all our images are going to be exported as black and white photos because we have this layer at the top of our panel. Furthermore, we can do the same thing with the bottom layer. This is great when you want to save each layer alongside your background. Finally, we can do both. This opens a world of possibilities, and it's one of the more exciting parts of Photoshop, perfecting your workflow to get the most out of your time. For me, in a professional environment, whether it's web design or app design, this is a fantastic time saver. OK, let me repeat the process where we resize these at a value of 2000 pixels, but I'll choose Save All Layers along with the top layer. Let it run, and we'll check the results in a moment. Here they are. As you can see, all these images are PNGs, they're black and white, and they've been resized. We've used this so much in our offices that we created an action for it. Open up your Actions panel and let's record a new one. Hit on this icon and let's name it something like Layer Saver. I'll change the function key from None to F2. Now let's record. Super easy, it's only one step. Go to File, Scripts, Layer Saver. In here we're not going to do anything, so just hit Cancel. Finally, we'll stop the recording. Now when we want to launch it, we'll just use F2 and we'll save the trouble of drilling through all those menus. Please note, this is supremely versatile. It works with groups too, and you can also run actions on your selected layers. Overall, this is a great way of exporting your photos fast and without headaches. Whether you like this Layer Saver script or the image processor method, please try it out on your own batch of photos and see how you do. Have fun!